People need to stop taking nodes like this on their main clearing setup that they use. I see a lot of people just allocate this normally and just use it. The stun build-up may look nice, and the amount of increased attack damage, but you don't want to reduce your attack speed at all while you're clearing. You want to have as much of it as possible. I mean, I'm not taking this. A lot of people path over here, but this is quicker. This is a few too many points for me to justify it. But I have also attack speed on some jewels and stuff. You just definitely don't want to take reduced attack speed nodes. You see how these are green? That's because they get used with this. And this only gets used with this. Use your weapon swap point. I see a lot of people complain about melee, and then I read things like, my Sunder has 2.2 second attack time and it sucks for clearing. And that's because it's not a clearing skill, it's a payoff skill. It has guaranteed crit. Jesus. Same for Hammer of the Gods, same for Supercharged Slam, same for a bunch of these skills. I think there's a bit of difficult onboarding when it comes to melee, because you need to work out what skills are actually usable for clearing and what you shouldn't be using, and Sunder is kind of baiting a lot of people in that regard. I haven't even touched it because I'm Resolute Technique, so I don't get any of the crit bonus. But you see on this tree here, when we swap from this weapon to this weapon, we're going to lose all these red nodes. All these red nodes that give us armor, because we don't need them. There's some life stuff here as well. We don't need it. The boss is heavy stunned. We're not going to take any damage for a bit. For like a few seconds. That's fine. So we can weapon swap into all these nodes. Less attack speed. We don't care about attack speed with Hammer of the Gods. Lucky damage against heavy stun enemies over here. We've got some damage when stuff is close here. We've got some damage against armor broken stuff. So we're using all the weapon swap points available in order to give us a like 530% extra increased damage, which maps out to a lot of damage. I mean, let me just demonstrate over here. Let's say we're just using this with weapon slot 1. Average damage per use is 70k on tooltip. Obviously, tooltip DPS isn't real. This skill is doing millions of damage already. It doubles. It more than doubles when we're using the tree. When we're switching weapon, this weapon is not double damage compared to this one. I mean, it's a very good weapon. It's like 600 average versus like 450-ish average hit here. Where'd it go? So you'll see here that we have Earthshatter on our main hand setup. Earthshatter is it's not a slow skill. If you aren't using upheaval, it's actually comes out relatively fast. It's like, you can use, this is obviously with a fast mace, but like the default attack speed is very nice, but we want to use upheaval support to make 3 of them, which doesn't make it that slow either. And the trick with Earthshatter is you blow up the visions with war cries. You don't need to make too many of them. Like, enemies are in front of us here. Boom. This whole area of the screen is exploding. The crazy thing about Earthshatter is if you have Seismic Cry, which is guaranteeing you additional aftershocks, 1 additional aftershock for the skill, as long as the skill is exerted. When you use the skill, the explosion you get when they explode is going to happen automatically and leave the fissure there, you get an extra aftershock. The aftershock on this skill gives you 460% of the attack damage. You think about that shotgunning into like, you know, that's 1,300% attack damage, and then that's going to happen again because it's going to come out. All 3 fissures are going to blow up like that because we have some chance to. We also have this. we're not taking this, but we take this. There's 22% for an aftershock anyway, and then we get a guaranteed one when we're using seismic cry, which is going to be up all the time, and then we blow them up as well. So just one skill usage can be like about 2,600 to 3,900 of your effective attack damage. That's pretty impressive. It's actually impressive comparing it to Hammer of the Gods numbers. Hammer of the Gods over here dealing 2,463% damage, and then you get the guaranteed aftershock on that, so that gets doubled. The advantage of using a weapon swap setup with this is it's not even just an advantage. It's what the game is designed around. They give you these weapon swap points for a reason. You want to get the big bonking stick to get this damage like much higher on the second setup compared to the first one. The weapon swap speed is not very slow. Why do you keep going off my bar? Like, if we do this, and then I want to swap, and then it just comes out. And obviously it takes a while to come down, but the boss is heavy stunned, so it doesn't matter. Likewise, this has hourglass support on it, so this has a 10-second cooldown, and comes out quite slowly. We can throw our hammer out, and then charge this up if the boss is still heavy stunned. And do something goofy like that. Pretty fun, right? So we split our supports quite strictly like this. Earthshatter has nothing for damage other than really upheaval, which actually gives it less damage per fissure blowing up and less attack speed, but we want it for the coverage. The coverage is insane and the shotgunning potential is insane. We fully break armor when inflicting a heavy stun, which can get consumed by Hammer of the Gods for 50% more damage on that. We have 50% more stun build up. Stun bosses more quickly, stun everything more quickly. Everything's just better when it gets stunned. Break endurance. I don't see enough people running this, honestly, on their main setup. Like, these kind of connections are what you should be running on any Warcry based character. You want to generate endurance charges with this while you're clearing. So every like 1 in 5 chance for an enemy to give you an endurance charge. You stack up to 3, and then both of these Warcries can consume them to give them extra exerts. You can have like 5 sides with cry exerts. This basically guarantees full like uptime on both of these. So every attack is exerted, every attack has an additional aftershock. It's a lot. Then we have 40% more area of effect. I'd say these are in the order of priority. So obviously, you know, 6 links are expensive if you haven't been able to get one yet. I actually corrupted this one into a 6 link. I got lucky. I was going to try it on a few of them, and I got it first try. Streamer luck. I bought the 6 link for this one because I didn't want to keep gambling. I had the money to do so. And so likewise on here, now we just have, you see how there's no damage supports here? Yeah, they all go on Hammer of the Gods mostly. 35% more physical, again, 10% less attack speed goes on your bonking skill, not your clear skill. You don't want less attack speed on your clear skill. You don't want to stand there swinging, enemies can hit you. That's not what your armor and elemental rares are not there to let you attack. They're there to soak up the hits you're going to get while attacking anyway. You don't want to reduce your attack speed at all while you're clearing. Yeah, as we said, 50% more damage when it consumes fully broken armor, which would also apply to the aftershock, although they then don't have their armor broken. But it's because Hammer of the Gods is such a big hit, armor is less effective against it. So that, you know, that works out. Max physical damage here, 30% more, and we have lucky damage against heavy stun enemies. 25% more when they're next to us, and we have an extra 40%. An extra 84% increased when they're in close range as well. And ancestrally boosted. The area of effects is actually quite nice on this, because sometimes things like to roll around a bit when they get heavy stun, so you know, I've missed the odd hammer, embarrassingly, when I'm killing a boss, which is annoying, because then you have to wait for it to come back up again. A lot of bosses, I've started to forget what a lot of boss mechanics are and what they do, because I walk into the boss, I heavy stun them, I hammer them, and I leave. Supercharged Slam is there as a follow-up for like anything that's tankier that hasn't died from the Hammer of the Gods. If you can just go back to Earthshattering as well. As soon as they're back from being heavy stunned, you probably want to go back to Earthshattering because you don't want to drop all your armor nodes because the weapon swap and such. But Supercharged Slam is there for like initial follow-up. It's just, you know, I had a spare skill socket. I was using Berserk. You'll see I have 40 Spirit available. It's because I put Time of Need off, because every 7 seconds this makes a sound. I don't want to have that happening while I'm making this video, so I turned it off. I was running Berserk for a bit. I had a bit more spirit, and I dropped that for like a big life roll on this. So I had a spare steel socket, so I just put this in here because I have some more links. You know, you have fire infusion, you have tremors, you have extra aftershock here, and then you can do the cooldown this one. Because again, this is not a skill we need to use much. Very fun, isn't it? That would get another aftershock from Seismic Cry as well. Go over the gems in full detail. Infernal Cry here has days, which is nice because we want to run in. We want to Infernal Cry when we're next to the boss before it's getting stunned. Days is going to make them easier to stun, and it's going to give us that extra like extra fizz as fire up to 150%. We don't penetrate fire resistance at all really, but it's still a lot of extra damage that adds up. It's really nice to have Perpetual Charge on this because the one we really want to consume charges while mapping is Seismic Cry, but we're going to be using Infernal Cry anyway. To blow up our fissures, we just gotta alternate between, like, our Warcry cooldown time is 3.15. No decreased cooldown support on either of them because it's like enough as it is. So you see, as we're attacking and moving around, we're just gonna be able to do this. Also note that our Warcries are lower level because their mana costs get stupid at higher levels for like not much better benefit. They only get a bit of Warcry speed, not much else. But there's no point using a higher level one. This is level 5, this is level 11. That's like the minimum level as far as I'm aware. I could even try to corrupt these to go down a level. Just to make them like lighter on the mana pool. But mana isn't an issue. We have Mana Leech and stuff. We have Flask and Mana Leech. Like, mana's never an issue for this build. But you know. This also gives rage per 5 power, so it's going to give like a good chunk of rage from the boss, because bosses have, monsters always have 20 power, so this will give 16 rage, which can then get consumed by this to make skills deal 30% more damage. This also gives another 15% damage to anything empowering it. And I put Murderous Intent on there because I can. You don't need this. There's like a free socket here. I could put Reduced Cooldown Recovery on this, I think. I don't have it anywhere else. But it doesn't really... I really just don't need it. Might as well though. Cooldown. Cool. Ingenuity. It only goes down like... we already have so much increased cooldown, Warcry cooldown recovery. It's only like 0.3 seconds difference. I guess it's better than Culling Strike really, because Culling Strike isn't really good for slams because it checks after the hit. I mean, no, it checks before the hit rather than after now. So it's not really useful for slams much. Yeah, I still prefer it. I don't really care. Spirit Gems. We have Scavenge Plating, Time of Bleed, and Overwhelming Presence. This makes things get stunned more quickly. We have Cannibalism on this to give us Life on Kill. This is really good. Every melee character should run this. Life on Kill is great. There's a Life on Kill node you can anoint that isn't too expensive as well. But this is just like 4% is fine, and it's really good for keeping you alive. Time of Need is also really good. You might not feel like the life and curse removal is as reliable, but with less duration, it's like every 7 seconds. And it will help you when you need help. This was my only source of healing I was left with when I was doing my 4th Ascendancy point and killing the Sanctum boss. I ran out of flash charges, and I literally had to like run around and get my health back with Time of Need, which was funny. And a bit of clarity on here as well, just because, you know, it's every little, you know, we might as well just give up. It's free. I got a bit of int. You could take this off technically and free up a tiny like 10 spirit, use from something else, but I like a bit of extra mana sustain. Scavenge Plating is the most powerful spirit gem because it gives it's 5% more armor, not even at max level, just needs to be like level, I don't know, it's like 17 or 18, and then gets 2% more per Scavenge Plating with quality. So this doesn't do as much versus bosses, but when you're running around, you're going to break everything's armor, because again, we're running Devastate, so everything gets stunned, everything gets armor broken. So this is going to constantly stay at 10 stacks with 12-second duration, so you're gonna keep those stacks. This is basically determination. This is determination, and you should be running this if you're an armor build. So you should be armor breaking things, which is why you need this on your main skill. This gives me 70% more armor. We have more skill effect duration, of course, to lengthen that from 8 to 12 seconds. And you don't need anything else on this. I put this in as a joke so that the thorns will also armor break, but it doesn't do anything. But, you know, there's no cost to actually putting it on. It doesn't increase the spirit cost at all. And then we have Leap Slam, and Leap Slam doesn't even get used like a crazy amount. I'm not constantly Leap Slamming around. I'm quite content just like running around a lot of the time because Leap Slam will consume exerts. After you clear a pack, if you've got some exerts left, it's nice to have them going into the next pack. It's just safer, it's just better. Leap Slamming constantly will just absorb those for nothing. I do have Martial Tempo on here, which is something I could put on my main skill if I wasn't going to use Leap Slammer much at all, but I like having Leap Slammer as like, this is more like a defensive tool. This is like the way they designed like movement skills to work in Ruthless mode in Path of Exile 1, where I Leap Slam not because I want to go faster always, but I Leap Slam so I can quickly get away from the situation. Aftershock. And it has like Consecrated Ground and Rage on hit, because why not? This doesn't need really anything else. Nothing. I don't use Mace Strike. A lot of people just use Mace Strike for some damage as well, but I don't really use it. I could, but I don't really have any more support gems to put on it to make it useful for much. So yeah, the playstyle is you can with Earthshatter you can just do 3 and blow up, 3 and blow up, or you can stack up to 9. You can do this for like essences as well, and then blow them all up. So anything in the middle here is getting shotgunned by all of them, which is a lot of damage. My gear is in a very good spot because I sold something for a lot of divines recently. Otherwise, I haven't been making crazy money. Every day I've had like a little bit of an upgrade, which has been a nice process. This temple wall was like a couple of divines or something. Most important stats here, as long as you have enough physical damage, like I'd say like if the max roll is like about like 550 or stuff, that's enough for like high-end content. You just want as much attack speed, and you want the stun duration. Stun build-up is not the most important thing, because we've got like 50% more on this skill anyway. We're going to be stunning things quite quickly. Haven't tested against pinnacle bosses, because I can't access them, because they're impossible to access at the moment. What the fuck? But for now, like for stunning everything in maps and stuff, and clearing like 99% of the content we do in the game, this is everything I need. In here we just have like 40% more, 40% increased physical damage boosted. And the bonking stick, otherwise, we showed this earlier. The only thing that matters on this is as much of a big fizz hit as possible. We don't need any attack speed, we don't care about stun. Obviously, if you can find one with a bit of attack speed, happy days. It's not a bad thing. It makes the hammer come out a little bit quicker, but you can splash out and buy someone's massive hammer with like 1.05 attacks per second that people don't want to use for mapping, and you can use that as your weapon swap weapon. The rest of my gear, the goal I did recently when I was updating a lot of my gear was to get my defenses like happy and in order, while also stacking a lot of increased rarity, because rarity is busted. So almost everything has rarity other than my amulet, my belt, and my chest. I have rings with good life. This one has decent life. I can this will be the next one I upgrade probably. That or the chest, but the chest is expensive to upgrade. We've got a 2k chest. Ring is nice, lots of res, 23% increased rarity, bit of chaos res, getting us right to 75 with these soul cores and some other mods. This breach ring, I bought this for like 20x. It was a bargain, I think. Some people don't know how much to list things for. People are very confused about how to price things, so keep checking regularly if you want upgrades, because you'll find some bargains sometimes. It's like, you know, bargain bin kind of shit. There's a lot of fire res coming from this, pushing us over to 163. The reason why we have so much uncapped fire, our lightning is like, we don't need as much lightning. I can drop a bunch of lightning on this and maybe get a big fire mod on this instead. We want the fire though, because we're running this on all our trees. Give us max fire res. These are nodes that we don't necessarily need on every setup, but I already swapped, like, you know, I've already used all my weapon swap points, so it's okay. And where were we? Yeah, so this pushes up to 87 res. The reason why we're on 83 and 83 on the others is because we have jewels. Jewel sockets on the passive tree are one of the most important things you can build around. These are your pressure points. These are like, in Path of Exile 1, we used to path around masteries a lot more. Like, I need to go here, make sure I get this mastery, that mastery, a lot more powerful. I'd say dual sockets are like the new masteries in that respect. Like, you really want to build your tree so you can get as many of them as possible. So you see here, like, I go up here, Resolute Technique, boom, there's one here, perfect. I'm going through this max res stuff. You could go through here, it's a bit quicker, but I want the max res, because the more of it you stack, the better it gets. And then boom, up here. And then from here, we have the weapon swap points for this, so that's perfect. That's really nice. And most of our jewels provide max res. So this one's 2 cold, this one's 2 lightning. There are some other mods you can get on this. So like Area of Effect is nice. There's some like freeze threshold on one of these, I think. Yeah, this one. Some of them are corrupted. Give us little, like, this skill gives an extra bit of lightning res that we don't even need, but you know, it's nice that we give it. 2% max res jewels are not expensive. It's a pretty common mod. It's like 1 to 2 roll, and you can buy them quite cheaply. Try to craft them up, get something, corrupt them, see what cool stuff you get. I will look to get a corrupting blood immunity one at one point, probably, just so I can try to do ultimatum a bit more easily, because, you know, fuck corrupted blood and ultimatum. The only thing that isn't a max res jewel is this one here, which gives us 1 rage on melee hit for every notable in its radius. Now, getting a medium one of these would be best, so it hits this one as well. But I haven't been able to find one. These are very hard to search for because the mods aren't on the trade site currently. Also, gain 1 rage on hit is a lot rarer than like gain rage when the enemy hits you, which I don't think is as reliable or as good. We won't be able to gain rage and sustain our rage. Our rage is going to drop off if we don't get that. So this might be a... I made this. I found this. I crafted it up. I think it started with a rage on hit mod even. So very, very, very good find. Keep an eye out for these. Once you can live search for them on trade, start doing that. But this gives us 1, 2, 3 rage on hit and a bunch of extra little bits of damage here and there. Bit of extra Warcry cooldown recovery rate. It's very nice. Those are the jewels as well. I recently upgraded to 35% boots. These are a few divines. Bargain, honestly. I think I should have paid a lot more for these and probably wouldn't have been able to afford them, but the guy was selling them pretty cheaply. Again, bargain. Look for bargains. Big life, res, rarity. Boom. Gloves, big life, chaos res, bit of life leech. I was getting a bit of life leech before. I was running berserk for a while when I had more spirit on my amulet, and I dropped that. So it's nice to have the life leech here as well. Got mana leech on this ring as well. You need mana leech on this build if you want to do any kind of big bosses, because you will run out of mana flask. And then you'll be running around. My first attempt at the Floor 4 Sanctum boss, I failed, not because I couldn't kill him due to him killing me, but I couldn't kill him because I had no mana. And I was only tickling him without, you know, being able to, like, spam this shit. Helmet as well, lots of rares, lots of life. This one was, I think this was like 4 divine helmet. Again, even that feels like a bargain. Chaos res on here, fire, chunk of lightning I don't need. Big rarity as well, like 29% rarity. I mean, it's so juicy. So we have a total of about 102% rarity on the gear, and we're very tanky. We've got like 9k armor, we've got 3.5k life. Yeah, we're taking 50% more life because I do not want to play without it. We're not strength stacking, we're not taking Giant's Blood. A lot of people are saying you should, like, you have to go for Giant's Blood. I've been doing pretty fine without it. It requires you to, like, really, like, focus on getting strength on every piece of gear in order to enable it, and maybe you have to, like, use a different kind of weapon, like an advanced temple maul or something. I haven't looked too much into it. I might look into how this build could go into Giant's Blood when there's some kind of POB to look at, some kind of, like, thing I can math it out with. Because I don't want to invest in swapping all my gear, you know, invest a lot of divines, but want something that might not be like the biggest upgrade. It's going to be great for, obviously, Hammer of the Gods gains a lot of damage. Like, both weapons hit with 30% less damage is way more damage for Hammer of the Gods. And I can get a shield in my main hand, put a bunch of res on the shield, freeze up the strength mods, the other stuff. But, you know, it's a lot of work, and I'm perfectly happy just not running it at the moment and just using a chunk of strength I'm grabbing for the extra life at the moment. These are big fat life nodes. I wonder what else is worth talking about on this tree, because all of it's like just common sense. Path through here, path through the middle, fan out to get your dual sockets. This node is crazy good. Anyone who's not taking this is griefing themselves. It's why you should probably take this. Either you want to path through here or path up here. You have more lightning res, you know, take more lightning res here, it's worth it. This is with hulking form. This is 20. This is 14. So that's 26%. 26% increased attack speed if I've been hit recently. So this is going to go down to like sub 0.7 attack time, which is, it feels so good because you are getting hit recently very often. It's like every 4 seconds if you're getting hit. 26% increased attack speed. I'm in. Worth the points. Bit of armor as well. A little bit of armor. We take this stuff here. We've got the aftershock chance. We've got the more damage against heavy stun stuff here. There is an extra point we're taking here because we want the 12% chance to aftershock because that's really good. So we take these as well, which is just increased damage, and rather than just taking increased stun build up. The one thing that's a bit controversial for me on this tree is dropping all of this. I was running a lot of this before and just using this weapon swap, and I was pathing all the way down here with my weapon swap point, but that meant I couldn't get this dual socket. And by doing this with like proper points, I can get the dual socket because you can't use weapon swap points for dual sockets. So I swap this and I put this all on here, and the damage is still fine. Again, you really don't need a crazy amount of extra damage from your tree or even from skill gems to be clearing out white packs and stuff. You just need to like hit them hard and fast enough so they die. And then obviously we're taking a lot of Warcry stuff. We're not going up here to take this. This isn't like as necessary. Warcry area effect is nice, but we have loads of area effect anyway. This is kind of it's a bit of increased damage. It will go up to like 24, 36%, 30, 32%, 40%. Won't be too hard. But we don't need it really, and it's a bunch of travel nodes. Obviously you can take this as well. There's 5% increased attack speed here. If I was pushing this build all the way to 100, this is what I might end up taking, and I might just lop off a few points from stuff. I might take this stuff, or I might just like take more dual sockets. Again, there's a dual socket up here, so again, you know, there's a dual socket up here, so it motivates you to go up here. It's a good idea. Otherwise, this is, yeah, we're taking rage. Unforgiving is really important for rage. I think if you want to use rage tool, you have to take this. It's like a tax you have to pay. It's not very cheap to anoint. I think isolation's a pretty expensive memory. And it's only 4 points, and this also means you lose rage like a kind of like a snail's pace. But I'd pay the 4-point tax and I'd just take this. This makes rage like usable, which means all the rage-based supports and stuff are more usable. Otherwise, you're just not going to keep your rage, especially for like a weapon swap when like a Hammer of Gods needs to come down and stuff. You're just not going to keep it. We don't take this, but we take this plus 1 exert, so we get 2 exerts every time we this 2 exerts minimum, so 5 exerts maximum with the endurance charges being spent. We don't take this because, again, Cutting Strike is bad. We don't take this because we don't really care about the endurance charges while bossing, so we only have like 2 attacks we care about from our combo anyway. Otherwise, we can keep all our endurance charges up anyway. It's not like a terrible node. You can take it if you want. It does help. It does help a bit of extra sustain. Take this down here for speed and recovery. Our Warcry speed is very fast. You see, it's a Seismic Cry. Very fast. Feels almost instant because you get to walk while using these Warcries as well, which is really nice. It just slows down your attack speed, your movement very slightly. So all the Warcry speed is good, but we take more cooldown recovery here as well. Recovery is like nothing. More damage versus broken armor, and I see a lot of people not take this one as well. I really like this, especially because our armor also applies to fire damage. But there's 2 kinds of damage where if we're crits, we'll get double armor effect into that. And it's like 25% of our armor, but it's a lot of armor when you think about like that should be happening, I think, after res is calculated. So like the hit will be smaller, then armor's applying to a smaller hit. So it's a very there's no design, and everyone should take this. And stacking the max fire res, like fire damage really just doesn't kill us ever from my experience with this. And this gives 15 strength as well, which is like an average like 7.5 strength per point invested to get into it, because you want to take this one anyway. You know, I probably will just take these as I level up anyway, just to get like a bit more life. We just want to die less, don't we? Aftershock area of effect. Again, this is for the clearing setup, but there's a nice bit of damage. 40% increase area effect is a lot, especially when magnified by 40% more effect on this skill. In general, that's why these by the explosions you can get around them That's the trigger for me. Yeah, see how fat those explosions are? That's what you want. And I have a +1 charm build, non-essential. This is getting more charm slots is a luxury. You can pick what you want. I pick unaffected by slows and immunity to shock. I don't pick freeze immunity because with this much cold res, I generally am not getting frozen by anything, and I have a bit of extra freeze threshold to help me. The only things that freeze me is stuff that's like guaranteed to freeze me anyway. Like the shade skill that has 250% more freeze buildup. And I don't think charms are effective enough against those. Like the freeze charm has like 80 charges, it requires to use all 80 of them, so you have to kill a load of enemies just to become freeze immune again, and you're not going to probably before you find another one of those enemies, and he's going to freeze you. But I'd rather just stack the cold res and, you know, deal with most freezes in that way, where I just don't get frozen, I don't take enough damage for it to build up the ailment enough. But you can put a freeze immunity charm on there if you're finding more of an issue with it, or you're doing more kind of content somehow that like that is freezing you. It's not full immunity. Well, these take a lot less charges, so a lot of the time I'm running around like chilled ground maps. I'm not getting chilled much because it keeps activating. Same with like getting immune to shock. That's like not taking 20% more damage. That sounds nice. We are level 91. Pushing comfortably to 92. The XP penalty at the very top end doesn't feel too bad, so I should be able to keep going. And I'm just doing tier 15 maps. The build feels sublime in a lot of ways. It's very tanky. You're like a steady steamroller. It's not a zooming build. This is not a meta spark, does 1 billion damage per second and also clears out the whole screen thing. It's not something broken that's going to get, like, nothing in this build, once GGG comes back from holiday over Christmas, should get nerfed. It's fair, it's balanced. You have to invest a lot into certain things to make it work, and that investment gets rewarded. You're not getting 1 billion life from ES and stuff for free reasonably. You're investing in stuff and getting stuff from it the way Chris Wilson intended. And yeah, all of this comes with 102% increased rarity. I could run a quick random map. We'll just pick a tier 15 that doesn't look too awful. Ooh. This is evasive, is fine. Bashes burning ground. We'll just run this. I tend to craft these up a bit more. I kind of want to run a crypt because those are smaller, and I just really enjoy doing crypts. That's a creek. That's not a crypt. That's a creek. Crypt. There we go. Just run this crypt, just to demonstrate exactly what the build feels and looks like when you were mapping, when we were doing stuff. Reload this. Wrong way. There's a shrine over here. The fire one at least, so we're not going to take too much damage from that. Clicking these is kind of annoying. You see, we hit. Boom. Okay, nothing was heavy stun. Now something's over. Now we have three sides of triangles. We're going to sustain these pretty well. That's a duelist strongbox. I don't like strongboxes. I mean, I like looking at them. No idea to first. Cast lightning storms. This is what I don't like. I'm gonna pass. The modifiers on strongboxes currently are doing way too much damage, even for a build that's as tanky as this. I don't know how anyone else is coping with them. I tend to ignore them mostly. You see how this build is just kind of walking through like tier 80 content and just you don't take that much damage. You'll come across a rare at some point. Hopefully. If your maps don't have increased rare monsters on them, you don't find them. Another shrine. I really don't like shrines in general, because a lot of them, if they spawn the grippy packs around them, and those packs then gain the extra damage mods they get. See, this map only has like... Does this map only have 2 free rares? This is what happens when I don't have increased rares. So bad. Obviously, I could be leap spamming instead of just walking, but it's like, oh, quite chill. So we just do this. He already died.
I need more time.
yeah, these guys are very cool. I'm not going to use Hammer of the Gods on these guys because they just die like that. Example. The thing is, like, I vastly prefer this kind of playstyle to like having to off-screen stuff and like getting stressed as soon as there is like monsters on my screen. Oh. There were no real rippy mods about that map, but like you can see with like even if you're running like 70% increased monster life maps, you're gonna be fine. And that's just generally how the build feels most of the time. I don't have a boss in that map. I don't really want to like you saw what the build does against bosses. And that's it basically. This has been the culmination of like weeks of work, obviously, that gradually I haven't made this with a guide. I haven't followed anyone else's advice with this build, so I'm very happy it's turned out something that can do all like endgame content. You can still overjuice in general. I mean, there's just a lot of monsters that are unbalanced. There are various map mods you just don't want to run. I think I'm collecting them here. So you don't want to run max res, obviously. You don't want to run break armor. The buffs to armor duration, armor break duration, buffing it from 8 to 12 second base. They also buffed the monsters' armor break duration, so you're gonna lose all your armor. You will lose all your armor as you do these maps, and you'll have to like pause for a while to let the armor reset, which is stupid and annoying. I don't want to do it. So this is quite a nice map for anyone who doesn't like have armor. Same there. 200% increased stun build up is quite nasty as well. You can get stunned quite easily with stuff like that. We're currently not at the point where we can do elemental weakness, but I get a bit more cold and we should be able to we can improve our ring or something, and or our chest eventually, and then we can get to the point where we're covering that. You just need to be 50% over cap. Minus res there. Temp changes doesn't really affect things too much. This one is doable. Oh, I put it in there. Yeah, elemental weakness maps for now I can't do though, and also increased freeze build-up is nasty. You're just going to get frozen a lot, no matter whether you're using a charm or not. But otherwise, this build can do so much content. It's very, very comfortable in things like ritual, expedition, blowing up everything quickly. A bit less comfortable in other builds in Breach, which is one of the better mechanics, because obviously it doesn't have that stream-wide, like, it's not like a Spark Archmage and stuff where you're like got the coverage. It's better at like tighter things, tighter spaces, and it's better when like the monsters, like the game is forcing the monsters to be on top of you in some way, and you will outlast them. You will stun them, you will blow them up. It feels great. For Anoint, I'm also running this, by the way. It's just like a general all-round nice node, bunch of life, bunch of stuff. It's just nice. It wasn't very expensive. There's probably better stuff and cooler stuff I can find. That's the build. That is the build. I haven't been streaming at all at the moment because I don't feel like my internet is strong enough to be streaming right now. I have to like be on a less stable network, and the game doesn't have the networking mode, which means that like I don't get, this is fine, but it will sometimes spike, and if I go on my like faster network it spikes more. I could try it. I might try it today anyway. I've been wanting to stream a bit of Path of Exile too, but this is what I've been doing in my time. I don't think there's anything else to go over. Just to summarize, Melee, they're going to work on the Mei skills and rebalance them, but their vision for Mei skills is very clearly that you don't use things like Sunder and a lot of these like really big hitting skills for clear. A lot of people are doing that. If you want to use something like Earthshatter, there's a few other skills like it. I think Earthshatter is like one of the best skills in general that you can combine with like a big bonking skill like Hammer of the God, like Supercharged Slam. So use your weapon swap points. Like, don't complain about how your melee build is feeling if you're not using your weapon swap points and not using... Again, it costs a bit to have an extra weapon, obviously. But this only costs like a total of like... You can find a cheaper thing like that does like good damage for like 10, 20x if you're just starting out and not making that much money. And then eventually upgrade afterwards. Oh yeah, in the sense, you have to take hulking form once you are. I would take this by third lab probably. Honestly, I would just. Hulking form is just busted. It is insane how much you get from hulking form. Just need to know more. This it's fine spending 4 points for this. The chest doesn't even work properly. I can't even like. I can't even put my currency. I am clicking right now. I can't even put it into the stash like I can with this. It's fine. Just take it anyway. You always want to take crushing blows if you're using this kind of armor break stun combo we're using on Earthshatter. It just makes it like a billion times smoother while mapping, and it's also you can stun the boss a bit faster. And even though that's like it's only for stun is like 80%, so it's like 20% faster stuns on bosses. But when the bosses are like, you know, like the floor 4 Sanctum boss is a really long stun bar, that adds up even for them as well. And then 50% more life. You can take like this as well potentially, and not even, and maybe on a different build you just don't take this. You take this would be like uber tanky. But I feel like we've got enough armor for everything. There aren't that many things in the game that deal really big pure fizz damage hits. We don't need any of this stuff. This stuff is like superfluous. It's still strong nodes, it's still good stuff, but it's not needed, and this stuff is needed. And that's why we go Titan and not Warbringer, because Warbringer's infinite, not infinite, ignore cooldown recovery, ignore cooldown, ignore Warcry cooldowns, isn't needed. As you saw, we just alternate very comfortably. This skill doesn't even go on cooldown as well, unless you heavy stun something, which you're going to do often, so it will go on cooldown. So you want to alternate anyway, but like you can just spam this. You can just use Side and Throw stuff up as well. Yeah. If you got any questions, let me know in the comments. You got any experiences yourself with Warrior that you find interesting? Let me know. I enjoy this playstyle more than anything else, and I'm glad that I think BGG have facilitated a lot of like, not maybe like a load of different kind of builds you can do for Warrior right now, the vibe in the end game, but there are some that feel very good. It's a lot of the time comes down to playstyle difference and desires rather than anything else, but I am tanky enough to survive in pretty nasty juiced endgame content. And I have the damage to one-shot map bosses, even at max difficulty. I should say as well, Atlas Tree. I'm still kind of working on this and exactly what I want to be taking. I like going through this stuff. I like the increase. I just like increased sponsors. I like increased pack size. Rares are like where the big money is in maps, so I like the duplicated rare. I like the 50% increased rares. I think everyone should take this stuff. Generic pack size isn't as important as it was in Path of Exile 1. I like taking this because even with the 1 to 2 additional modifiers, I'm still just like ruffle stomping everything, and you get like regular like 6 mod rares that just get deleted quickly, so that's fine. It does make, if you're like juicing your maps with like delirium and stuff, things can get a bit spotty there, and I have run into some stuff that's just a nightmare. But it's fine otherwise. I'm taking a lot of this Waystone tier chance stuff just to make sure we can easily sustain Waystones. You want to over sustain your tier 15 so you can corrupt some of them, try to get tier 16s, and also you're going to get ones with like mods that you can't do. I'm taking quantity of Waystones, rarity of this is something you don't necessarily have to take. You could go around this one because this is often make them drop magic instead of rare normal, so you can't out them. But it's faster going to this. You want to take this. But you could drop all of this if you're finding your sustain fine. You can drop all of this and then take it. I will experiment with this. I might even like try switching up to day and see how I feel. Taking more precursor tablets, taking more local knowledge for some just boosted drops. I've got 8 out of 10 of these points. We haven't done the pinnacle boss yet because it's so inaccessible. I haven't even found a single citadel. The problem with the Atlas is like if you want to travel outward, you're not going to be juicing your maps as well because you want to be doing a bunch of towers around a good map and then do that map. So you either do better, you either make more money in maps or you search blindly for the pinnacle boss. I don't like the two are like at odds with each other so much. We do +1 essence, we do irradiated, we've got extra chance to drop waystone, we got quant, could do rarity instead. Not sure about these two. No progress on any of these. I've been playing this shit for like 70-80 hours. I've lost count. What even is my play? 3 days, 15 hours, including like about a good like 15 hours in the campaign it was in total as I was like learning stuff. That's a long time to have not made any progress on any of this content, because it is also expensive to buy and impossible to find. Worst thing about the endgame, and the only reason I keep coming back is because I enjoy playing this build so much. I enjoy I like that it's mine. I didn't follow a guide. I didn't make something up. I picked up the class. I kept experimenting with stuff. It took me some time to realize that Earthshatter. I think the moment I realized I should be playing Earthshatter was when I was going for my 3rd ascendancy point, and I was still using like Earthquake and stuff, and it just wasn't cutting it at all for Sanctum. I switched to Earthshatter, it was night and day, and I can just blow up everything so easily from range as well. The actual range on this skill is quite insane. So you can really get stuff from far away. Alright, I'm going to keep rambling if I don't end the video, so go and enjoy Warrior. Warrior is fun. Just play it properly, Jesus Christ. Okay. Bye.